Hi everyone, this is Suraj Ramesh, Product Manager for the OCI Full Stack DR. Welcome everyone for the OCI Full Stack DR office hours for November 2025. Along with me, I have Greg and Rafael, Product Managers for the Full Stack DR. We also have our development team to answer your questions. With that, I'll hand it over to Greg to kick off the session.
For those of you that aren't familiar with full stack DR, let's just take a couple of minutes here. I'm not going to go through the whole slide here because we just don't have time. But happy to jump on a call with you at any time to go into more in depth. Just reach out to us. We have a resources slide at the end to help you get in touch with us. Um, so full stack DR, we don't install or configure or deploy anything for disaster recovery. You do all that yourself using normal OCI services. Once you have everything set up the way you like it, then you're going to just start adding things into full stack DR, and then we'll automatically create the plans to orchestrate the recovery for you. Oh, let me turn my camera back on. I turn this off because network bandwidth is precious in my home. Anyway, um, so once you've done all that stuff, then we're going to we'll build DR plans for you in a few minutes with everything that you need after you drag and drop any of these things that you see on the screen here on the right hand side here: virtual machines, block storage, file storage, object storage, load balancer backend sets. Like you're going to set up the load balancers in both regions ahead of time. We'll do the backend sets. All of these different databases, including MySQL. We have Kubernetes, OKE. Raphael's on the line. He's pretty much our expert with this. Although Suraj also knows a lot about this kind of thing. And then coming up soon in the future is really quick. Really soon we'll have Oracle integration integrated into Full Stack DR also. So anyway, that's basically what Full Stack DR does and how it works. And then what we're going to do now is I'm going to talk about some of the really cool features. So our whole goal of this thing is that right now you use Full Stack DR as the service. You go to our service page, uh, and then you start, setting up well, let me just go here. You would go here and you set up your protection groups and add members to them and add and members are all those things I was just talking about, and then create your plans and you do a lot of stuff like this. And this is the full service experience. This is the service that you're looking at right here, and we call them DR protection groups. Now, if you're just getting started with this, and you just want to go, well, let me just try some stuff out. We're starting to. What our goal is to add into the services that you're already familiar with to integrate our service in with their services. So you can, this was our first foray into it, was this thing we call Quick View. And with Quick View, you would go to a database or a compute instance or something like that, and then you would go to their disaster recovery tab or their details tab on their OCI console page. And then you would see full stack DR here, and it's either enabled or disabled. If it's enabled, you click on that little enable, and it'll take you to full stack DR where this thing is already a member of it, right? And then you would see that, hey, I got I got 100 virtual machines here, and I got 15 different databases, and I have load balancers, and I got all kinds of stuff, right? So you see, it goes beyond just just the database by itself. Now, then our next in it. So as you can see, we've integrated this quick DR thing into all of these different services. Quick view into all these DR all these different services in OCI on the left hand side here. And then MySQL we're working on right now, and then also OCI integration or OIC integration. We're working with them to build that in. Now that just views things. Then we added after that, we started adding another feature which we call Quick DR. Now, this Quick DR feature is for you people that are just getting started with full stack DR and you just want to kick the tires, try it out, see what it does, and you don't want to spend a lot of time learning about it. That's what this Quick DR thing is. So you're going to have Quick View. You'll see both Quick View and Quick DR. when you go to a different, to one of the services that's not full stack DR, just your normal service, right? Right now we have it on compute. We're working to add it into all these other ones, the databases and everything else that we support out of the box. OCI integration will probably be one of the first ones that you're going to, additional one that you'll see it Quick DR with. Now, what I thought I would do is really quick, I'm going to give you a demonstration of what Quick DR is. So behind the scenes here, I'm going to put this away. And Raphael should be watching chat to answer any questions you have. So please feel free to ask questions. Now you can see I kind of deleted this out of here. I had this is a protection group. This is what full stack DR looks like, but I deleted it. It doesn't exist anymore. And over here on the left-hand side, I have my instances. So I'm not in full stack DR at all over here. I'm just going to click on this instance. And now I'm looking at the compute instance. I am not looking at full stack DR. All right, I'm going to go down here to the bottom and you'll see this little disaster recovery thing right here. Now you can see full stack DR is here and it's not enabled. I can click on this activate quick DR thing. Now, when you get into the screen, you have two different choices. I can create an all new DR configure, or I can update the existing DR configuration. So once I create one of these things, I can go over here to another compute and I can tell it to update an existing DR configuration and I can continue adding more compute that way if I want to. But let me show you how, you don't know anything about full stack DR. Let me show you how you do this thing. So you go over here to this on the instance, click on quick DR, activate quick DR. Go here to this, make sure you got that little box, and then we're going to use the same names I had before. I call it MyFin or MyFinance, and this one is in Ashburn, so IAD, Ashburn, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call this thing. You don't have to have any underscores or anything like that, just spaces. Then I'm going to say, I want you to create this in what region? I want the peer region to be Chicago. Now, we will create everything for you from this point. You can hit this little create button down here. You can hit that right now, and we'll create everything for you, including the network, if you want us to. Now, most customers or most people already have networks at both regions already set up, and they just want to use those. So the additional ability here is I click this little switch right here, and now it does this little VNIC mapping thing. This gives me an opportunity to say, you could do this however many different VNICs you have with a virtual machine, you would just pick those here and then tell me, and I'm looking at Chicago right now because I told it already, its peer region is Chicago. I am looking at networking in Chicago. Where's my VCN in Chicago? It's there, right? There's my VCN. And in Chicago, I have this subnet on that VCN, right? This one right here. So I click on that. I'm not going to explain anything else. There's other options and things here, but I'm just going to go ahead and hit add right there. And now I'm going to hit create. Now that's all I've done. I gave it a configuration name. I told it what peer region I want to use. And then I also, chose that when you go over to the other region, when this virtual machine moves over to the other region, I want you to find this VCN and subnet and attach it to that VNIC for that one. Now, it's going to go off and do everything else for you. So this takes about 3 minutes. So why don't we open that up? Raphael, do we have any questions? Oh, let me turn my
I'm
video
working on
off.
that. No worries, I'm working on that.
Okay.
We have some questions here.
Okay, well, let's go through a couple of those questions.
Yeah, another question probably you can answer, Greg, is what are the costs associated with the DR being presented in the demo? So probably Raphael, question that you want to understand about pricing of the full stack.
So let me show you something else. That's a really good question. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to our product page, and it's pretty simple to remember, I hope. It's oracle.com/cloud/full-stack-disaster-recovery. You just spell it all out. And it takes you to this page. And then we have this page right here called pricing. Now, if you click on pricing right there, you will see a couple of things here. One, the price, which is kind of ambiguous. What does that really mean? There's a calculator down here, right? But then you're going to want to know, how do I fill out these fields? What am I putting in here? What am I putting in there? If you go back up here, there's this little document right here. I'm going to open that up in a new tab. You click on that link right there, and we have this pricing billing details page. And it tells you what we're charging you for, how we're charging it for you right down here, right? And it's only OCPU and eCPU right now. When you see OIC later on in the year, you'll see message packs in here also. Now, also down here is now a little tutorial, some examples. And this kind of mimics the intention of this thing is to mimic the fields of the calculator that I showed you here. Remember that calculator right there? It's got these 6 boxes. Well, these little tables have 6 little fields in them, right? And then I say, here's what your protection group looks like. Here's all the members you've added to a protection group. And then I tell you, no charge, no charge, no charge, no charge, right? These things we are charging you for, right? So you're going to enter these values into there. Now I have the examples get excessively or progressively more and more things are added, so you can get a feel for what you have in the primary region and what you have in the standby region and what we're actually charging for. Okay, and it'll tell you how you fill out the fields, right? So each example tells you how to fill out the calculator. Anyway, hope that helps. Next question. Well, let's see. Are we done? Look, it's all done. Can I go back to this? Yeah, let's go back to this. All right. So while I was blabbing about that, it completed everything that it was supposed to do. Now, what does that mean? What that means is it's, I'm going to refresh the screen over here. It created another protection group over here, right? It created the protection group and added the peers here. And you're going to go, well, that's kind of hard to understand there. I don't like that at all. You can always rename everything, right? And I'm just going to rename it MyFin. Oops. MyFin in Ord, which is Chicago. And I'm hit update. Okay, now it makes a little more sense, right? Now, the only other thing I'm going to show you right now, and again, reach out to us if you want more in depth, but we have tutorials on that product page I was showing you back here. We have tutorials and explainers on how to do everything here. There's a whole tutorial section here, how to do different applications and stuff like that. All of our documentation is down here at the bottom. So everything's kind of here. We got videos that explain stuff. All right, so anyway, the only thing I'm going to show you right now is that when you click on this right here, I'm in Chicago, I'm going to click on this thing. We also not only created the protection groups for you, and we added the virtual machine and we created a volume group for you also, but we also created all the different plans, and we have the 3 different plans that you need to have in each region, which are start, drill, switch over, and a failover. So it's already here, and you can rename these. I'm not going to do it. We don't have the time, but you can rename these anything you want to, and I make them really simple and easy to understand. Like this one is start drill in Chicago. This one will be switch over to Chicago, and this one will be switch over or fail over to Chicago. I'll rename them all like that. Now, after you've added these things here, you can also, I'm going to go back to the protection group over here. This is how you add things to it, right? So now it's just got one virtual machine in it. You can see it right here. One virtual machine and a volume group, which you can also rename. No problem with that. But then you want to add more things to it. You hit this manage members thing right here, and you tell it you want to add members, and you just tell me what you want to add. These are things that you've already set up. I'm not going to create anything of these things for you. You need to already have them set up and data guard enabled and that sort of thing. And you just add them through this thing right here. And you could add you could add 100 things here. And when you're all done, you go down here. It's kind of grayed out right now because I didn't change anything, but you can hit publish changes, and then it'll go and do all that stuff and add them to all those DR plans over here. All those things you just added will automatically be added to these DR plans over here. And they will change to a refresh, what we call a DR plan refresh. And then you just go through there and say, oh yeah, refresh it. I see the changes you made. I like it. Go ahead and keep it, right? There's a whole little process you go through. All right, let's go back to the slides. Are there any questions about this that came up?
So there was
Raphael?
another question. Maybe you can answer, Greg. It's there in the Q&A. Uh, Basically, the question is
Sure.
about, yeah, it's if there is a failure in the primary system, right? Like how the plan gets executed. So does the customer need to generally manually run the plan, or it does that do it automatically, right? So basically, like Bruno wants to understand how the plan execution is being done whenever there is a failure in the primary region.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, sure. Let me get rid of the slideshow again, and we'll go back to this thing right here. I'm going to go to a different, I'll show you what it does. We don't have a lot of time for this, but hopefully this will work. I'm going to change the region here. I mean, not region, not the compartment. I keep all my stuff up here, and then basically I go to Phoenix, let's say. So I have all these different protection groups because you organize your different business systems into different protection groups, right? So let's go look at one right here. And then we're going to look at plan executions. We record every plan you've ever executed. And here's one that says failed. All right, I like to show things that failed. And in this one right here, you can go and you can see, well, I was only running a pre-check, but this is a good example. Something failed here. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to go look until I find the thing that failed. And then I see the failed right here. Now, whenever you encounter a fail, it doesn't cancel anything. It doesn't stop anything. It pauses everything, right? So you need to come down here and take some sort of action. Like, I need to go look at the log. What was the problem? Then you go figure out what the problem is. And you go, oh, I see. Oh, we can fix that. And then you come back here and you would hit retry or skip. You go fix it, whatever you want to do, and then you hit retry and reskip or skip. And then once you hit one of these two things, then the plan will keep moving on, right? It won't stop. It'll just sit there and go in an updating state forever until you decide that you want to change something or you want to move forward. You have to tell full stack DR how to move forward. I did just pre-checks in this one. Anyway, that's what it does. So it records all of these things. You can see all the way back to 2023. It records all this, and it has. Let's see if I got an actual switch over. Here's one. This switch. I don't know if it was really doing anything really that, but see, I got to some point where I encountered a problem. I go, you know what? Let's not worry about that. It's not a big deal. I could just do this manually. And so you can see that I decided to ignore this failure and just move on. So I hope that answered your questions. All right. Let me get back to my slide here real quick. These are new features. It is now time for Suraj to take over. Go ahead, Suraj.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, before that, I want to launch another poll uh, about the kind of resources which you are primarily protecting with full stack DR, right? Uh, for the folks who are using the service. So basically, the answers what I've given is like we just want to see which kind of members you are primarily adding into the full stack DR, and we just want to understand, see how customers are using, right? So, um, yeah, as expected, like compute is coming up a lot, and then we have Oracle Database Service, and then storage services, and then load balancer, and OK, and MySQL Gateway, which is primarily new, right? So as expected, yeah, compute and the database and the storage stuffs are coming up in the top, and the load balancer, OK, and MySQL at the end, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
thanks
really
for
interesting.
yeah. Yeah.
We get a lot of Kubernetes engine in there, a lot more than I expected. It's really good. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so that's what
Sorry.
we are planning to do at the last poll, right? We will ask what kind of sessions you're interested in for the next month, right? So basically, based on the voting and the interest, we will go ahead and do the deep dive on the respective topics, right? Cool. So let's end the poll. I'll share the results. So if you guys want to see the results, compute 83%, Oracle Database Service 69%, storage 79, followed by load balancer, OK, and then MySQL Gateway. All right. So let me share my screen, Greg.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Let me stop sharing mine. Oops. There you go.
Yeah, just a second. Yeah. So what I want to do is I'll talk about the recent features which we announced end of October. So I'll keep it at high level so that you get an understanding of the features and announcements which we did by end of last month. So we did couple of three features and couple of announcements. So I'll just quickly highlight what those are all. So the first one is Policy Advisor with Resource Principal Authentication. So now we are moving from the Instant Principal to Resource Principal Authentication. So you'll get an automated Policy Advisor from the Protection Group section. Based on that, you can go ahead and modify your existing policy in Dynamic Group, right? So that's the whole idea of this feature. The second one is the automatic DR configuration. So there was a question about how the plans get automatically run, whether they'll be run automatically or a customer has to manually do that whenever there is a failure. So we support for the Oracle database. So whenever there is a database gets failed over or switched over outside of the full stack DR plan, then if you have configured the automatic DR, right, then the overall plan will be executed if you enable this on, right? So that's the feature about automatic DR. And we started supporting this one of our long pending asks from our existing customers who are using ExaDBD and ExaDB Clouded Customer, where for the built-in, for the drill plans, right? Now you can, whenever you add the members, whenever you create a drill plans, the built-in groups will be automatically created for these services. And then the fourth one is, so there are some niche customers who are using non-standard data guard configuration that is configured outside of the control plane. For them, we have created a Git repo where we have published a standard scripts where you can take advantage of executing a data guard role transition for various plan which you run, right? So this is a supported script which we are doing from full stack DR team itself. So we have a lengthy tutorial which goes in detail about how you need to take care of this. So I will share that while we go along, right? And the final one, the announcement which we recently did is we have published Terraform modules for full stack DR. We have started with one of the example of how you can create protection group, add members, and then an existing stack of autonomous database, OK cluster, and a compute and a volume group. But the idea is we plan to share more and more examples so that for customers who are using Terraform for their overall infrastructure in OCI, they could also leverage these example modules to build full stack DR resources, right? So this is what at high level, what are the new features and updates and announcement we did end of October. So let me go through all these things at in detail, right? So the first thing is the policy advisor. So as I mentioned in the screenshot, right, you can see uh, there is a section called view recommended policies, right? So what you generally do is you go ahead and create a protection group, right? Now, based on the members you added, the full stack DR will retrospect, and then we will dynamically provide the recommended policies which you need to configure for that specific protection group, right? So that's the advisor, the full stack advisor feature is about. So another important thing to highlight is we are moving away from the instance principal to resource principal authentication. So that there, one of the feature which we depend on, for example, the automatic configuration, we require the resource principal. That's one thing. But also from a security perspective, right? Moving away to resource principal would make sense, right? So for today, if you are using your existing policies and dynamic group, it doesn't break anything. So you keep continuing using that, but we ideally recommend to start moving into the resource principal authentication, right? So in your existing pair, you can see the recommended policy. Then based on that, you can go ahead and modify it. Then you should be good to go, right? So as I mentioned, what we dynamically do is we'll go and retrospect the protection group with the members added, and then it will automatically provide the recommended policies like this, right? So you can see category like dynamic group based on the members. So if in this group I had only autonomous database, because of that I got only the autonomous database related uh, uh, policy statement, right? And then this is just for additional example in case if you are using the plan to use any custom user defined policy steps, then we also provided things for running command and then invoking function, right? So net, if you are using the service today, right, if you have an existing protection group which you're already using, then we highly recommend to use this recommended policy section and then start configuring the resource principal policies. And finally, maybe I missed to add upon, this will help to overcome any of the issues when you run into the exist. I mean, let's say you go ahead and as per the documentation, right? You go ahead and set up the policies and dynamic group. In case if you miss something, right, then obviously the pre-check or the plan execution will fail, right? So by having this recommended policy, then you'll not and I mean have that issue at all, right? So upfront you're setting up the right IAM policies and dynamic group so that when you execute the actual plan run, you'll not have any issues of having any errors, so that you'll have the plan getting successfully done, right? So that's the importance of having this feature apart from moving to resource principal. So the second one I want to talk about is the automatic DR configuration, right? So again, why we are doing this, right? So example, let's say you have your database where you go ahead and switch over or fail over outside of full stack DR, right? Then obviously you would like to have your other stack, which is part of your database, also moved into the other region, right? Assuming if it is part of the full stack DR. But with this feature, what you can do is you can go ahead and configure the automatic configuration, right? And if that configured database, right, gets switched over or failed over outside of the full stack DR plan, then using the events, we will automatically identify that role change happened, and then we'll go ahead and execute the DR plan where you have that automatic DR configured, right? So the idea is to not having only the database moved from primary to standby. If there are dependent components which is part of your overall DR protection group and plan, then by using this automatic DR configuration, uh, the service will identify the event, and based on that, the execution of that plan will be taken, right? So that's the whole idea of this feature, right? So again, it's an optional feature, and it is currently available only for the mentioned resources here, like autonomous serverless, AI autonomous database dedicated, and then Exadatabase dedicated, Exascale, and Clouded customer. So we are starting with these flavors first, and then down the line we will also start supporting other resources. So if you have any existing resources which is part of your protection group, then you can configure the automatic DR. And as I said, if the resources get switched over or failed over outside of the protection group, then the service will trigger. I mean, it will identify the event, and the plan gets automatically executed, right? So let me quickly show that to you so that you can see that.
While you're doing that, let me just
Yeah,
mention,
sure.
and this is completely pie in the sky, doesn't exist. It's just a thought. But I'm hoping that we'll be adding more services like if someone triggers a SAS Fusion failover, right? That not someone, but the operations team does that. And then you can configure it to say, hey, we're using Fusion and follow this Fusion instance over to the other, execute this plan when you see that happen. But I don't know if that's going to really happen or not. Just a dream of mine. But just to give you an idea, we plan on expanding and adding more features to that automatic DR beside databases.
Yeah, that's really important to know. Yeah. So let me just quickly show that here, right? So example, this is the protection group I have. So this is my standby, and this is my Phoenix as my primary. So I have my members added here, uh, and you can see the automatic DR configuration. Selected the wrong one. Sorry about that. Yeah. So you could see there is an inactive plan because I've executed that. But if I click that, right, the protection group has the members as mentioned here, right? The autonomous database and the bunch of other members. But the automatic DR configuration I have configured as the autonomous database, and I've enabled both switchover and failover, right? So let's say if a DBA goes and do the database switchover outside of the protection group, right? Then what the full stack DR will do is it will based on the event, right? We will fetch the database role got transition, and then we'll go ahead and execute the plan which you have configured as part of the automatic DR configuration, right? So that's the whole idea about this feature. So it's an optional configuration where you can go ahead and configure, and then if the role gets transitioned, then we will perform the overall plan execution, where along with the database, the rest of the stack, which is part of the DR plan, will move from the primary region to the standby region. Any questions, Greg, about this, or I can move on? Okay, so I will move on.
Sorry, move on. Yep.
Yeah. So the third one I want to talk about is the support for the ExaDBD and ExaDB clouded customer for the drill plans. So again, for a refresher, right, for the folks who are not aware about drill plan, it's basically like if there is an outage, right, like generally customers will go down and run the failover plan. But what drill plan will help you to do, right? Using the drill plan, we create a copy of your production stack in the DR region, or change the database role, like things like physical standby to snapshot standby, so that you can do the validation without impacting the production, right? So that's the whole idea about the drill plan, right? So we had support for various resources which we support currently today, right? Like compute, storage. From database flavors, we have support for Autonomous, and then for MySQL and so on, right? But for the Exadatabase and Exadatabase clouded customer, and also for BaseDB and ExaDB Exascale, there are no APIs available for doing the physical standby to snapshot standby, vice versa, right? So till today, customers were relying on the custom scripts for doing the drill plans for these resources, right? But last month, the database service team have announced APIs for these two services, right? So we have adopted those APIs into our service. Now, when you have a protection group with ExaDBD or Exadatabase clouded customer, as soon as you create a drill plan, right, then we automatically will pre-populate the steps for converting the physical standby to snapshot standby for start drill, and then for stop drill, we will do the conversion of snapshot standby to physical standby, right? So that's simple, right? So previously, customer were using scripts. With this feature, you don't need to rely on any custom scripts or user-defined modules. So full stack DR will automatically pre-populate the built-in groups for the database role transition, right? And then finally, as I mentioned, if you are using base database or Exadatabase Exascale, till you need to leverage your custom scripts, because the APIs are not available yet for those services. But in future, as soon as those services have those APIs available, we will incorporate those into the full stack DR drill plans. Okay, so another one, again, as I mentioned in my introduction, right? So there are some customers who are using manually configured data guard for various reasons, right? Let's say you might be using cascaded standby where we don't have out of the box support for that, or you might be using versions like 11G, right, where you cannot use the automated DR configuration, right? So for that customers, right, uh, generally we used to get SRs and questions about, hey, can you guys provide any standard scripts which we can take advantage of it, right? So what we have done is we've created a tutorial where we place your scripts in our GitHub repo, right? So if you are using any non-standard data guard configuration for such use cases, right, for these supported services, then you could leverage these standard scripts for performing all the operations which is mentioned here, right? For switchover and failover and DR drills. So you can download this repo, and then you can customize the plan with the user defined, where the service, the script will automatically pull up a container image, and then it will spin up the scripts for you, right? So it's very easy to use. So I've created a tutorial which goes in length about what exactly you need to do. So if you have any requirements, or if you have an infrastructure which is part of or this thing, right, then you can try to use this tutorial for automating your DR role transition, right? Again, it's a very lengthy tutorial. I don't want to take a lot of time to go through the details, but I will share this link in the chat where you can see step-by-step details of how you can use the scripts for performing the role transition. Okay, the final one I want to talk about is Terraform modules. Again, like for folks who are using Terraform at your infrastructure level for managing everything, right? Then we get a lot of questions from customers. Hey guys, can you provide any reference Terraform module so that we can also use it for full stack DR configuration, right? So what we went ahead and did, right? We recently published a Terraform module in the Oracle Terraform module GitHub repo, right? where one of our experts within Oracle, Sudarshan, has kindly helped us to go ahead and create this module for us. So you can go ahead and try this module, which is available in GitHub repo. So we also have an example module today. So where we have a detailed README instructions, like if you are leveraging an autonomous database with OK cluster and a moving compute, right? We have a step-by-step details of how you can add those members. Basically, it goes through in detail of how you can start from scratch, right? So again, highly encouraged to look at this repository if you're interested to automate your full stack DR configuration along with your existing things which you do as part of Terraform. Okay. Maybe I can quickly show if you have time. So this is the GitHub repo which I was referring. So we have a repository which is available here, and this is the example I was referring about. So for this, the architecture of the sample we took is the primary has autonomous database with OK cluster and a moving compute in the volume group. And then the standby has the autonomous standby database and the OK cluster, right? So we went ahead and documented all the step-by-step details of what you need to do. So basically, you can just clone this repository and modify your providers. Then you can do the Terraform in it and then modify all the details as per your requirement, right? So this way, you can automate your DR, full stack DR configuration as well, if you're interested to do require Terraform.
Okay, so is it possible to maybe open this up to, the audio up for people to ask questions, and we can kind of change this into a discussion for a few minutes before we start wrapping this up? Oh, and
Sure,
did you
yeah.
ask what we want to cover next time?
Yeah, maybe I'll just quickly launch that poll and then maybe we can open it for questions and answers.
Yeah,
Second,
Raha, we're gonna let you talk right on when you raised your hand. We're gonna let you just talk about it. So let's do this poll first.
yeah, so again, like what we thought about it, rather than we come up and talk something, right? Maybe we felt based upon the interest from customers, right? We'll do the respective topic in our next office hours, right? So that was the whole idea of having this question as part of the poll. So yeah, I can see prerequisites. I know that's a bit of a process which you need to follow. Again, that's why we have this policy advisor, which will help you to automate that or eliminate any errors. But I can see a lot of interest about prerequisites and then interest about compute and then host a database, Oracle database. So maybe I'll give it another 15, 20 seconds and then we will have this. And then wherever we get the maximum numbers, we will go ahead and use that topic for the upcoming office hours. So we have a tight race between compute and Oracle database. Oh,
Well,
looks like,
prerequisites are pretty important too, right? Because
yeah.
that's really hard for a lot of people. That's what we're trying to do with the policy advisor thing is help, make that easier for people to set up the policies, depending on the members that you added to a protection group. It's pretty cool. It's kind of our first step towards, automating that process for you.
Okay, so maybe I will end the poll and then I'll share the results. So we have this, right? So we have a tie between a compute and Oracle database deep dive. And then we have a prerequisite come and get 60%. So we will think about it and then we'll come up with any of these three topics for the December one. Thank you. Okay, Greg, so
All right,
who wants to
go
talk,
ahead,
ask
Roha.
questions?
Yeah, so Roha had a
I'll
question. Yeah, go ahead.
yes, I left some questions on the Q&A. Maybe we can start from there.
Yeah, so I was just typing one about the cloud agent, adding on to that the cloud agent has it has a user account that we rely on Linux and other operating systems like that. It's OCA run, OCA run is a user account, and on Windows it's a service. There's documentation in our prerequisites that say when you enable the cloud agent, which is already there, right? It's just our normal cloud agent. It's not specialized for disaster recovery or anything like that. It's just a normal cloud agent that's already out there on every. everything you deploy in OCI, all the VMs. You just need to make sure that you have to go onto the virtual machines, log into the machine. And on Windows, you have to execute a PowerShell command to allow administrator access for Oka Run. And then on Linux and derivatives, you have to enable sudo, through sudo in the sudoers file, root access for that account. And that's all documented in our prerequisites on our product page. What else?
I believe Rasha has the opportunity to talk. So,
Yeah.
Rasha, if you got a question,
Suraj, can
got
you
your
give
hand
him
up?
unmute him?
Yeah, I'm trying to do.
All right, I did that earlier, so he's good to go. Or they're good to go. Fine.
Go ahead and ask your question, Raja. You need to unmute and
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, so basically, right, we have been adopting this full stack DR for pretty pretty extensively. But what we really like to know is about the prerequisites of the XSES and all those things. And do we have any, like as you said, right, the APIs were being recently been adopted. So you mean to say it is just a month back, or when they were being done actually? Because right, we recently have been looking out to do the full stack DR for one of our customers, but we really like to explore that options, like how can we able to adopt it for the existing instances.
yeah.
Well, you
For
can you go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead, Suraj.
Yeah, so I was just trying to say, yeah, it's a new feature. The APIs was recently released by the database cloud service team, and we just added that into our service. So if you already have an existing Exa database service, right, which you already integrated with FullStack DR with switchover and failover plans, then now if you create a drill plan, then you'll also see the built-in steps available for you, right? But if you're trying to do from the start, from start, then the recovery steps will be pre-populated for all the plant types we support today, right? So yeah, are you? I mean, do you have an existing configuration, or you're planning to start now?
I believe that was the thing. So for a few customers, right, are already been in go live out there in production. So we are trying to see whether if it is a new change or are we gonna create a new plans for it. So if it is an existing customer, if you are trying to adopt it, and then we just need to create the plan, and then that should be fine. If not, right,
Yep.
we can go with a complete scratch plan from the beginning.
Yeah, let me
Or
show
which
you
will
guys.
be the best option for us. That's what we would really like to adopt. Like, can we adopt the existing customers, or is it better to create a scratch plan from the beginning?
Yeah, why don't you reach out to us offline,
Okay.
and then we
Yeah,
can
no
talk
worries.
about it more in depth, right? No, it's okay. No, I just obviously you have some really good questions there, so let's just talk about it offline, where you can talk about it in more in depth. Yeah, I wanted to bring something up really quick to people because we're about to wrap this up. I'm going to turn this back over to Raman really soon. There's we created these two product briefs. One's more of a technical one that has a um, and uh, and then we have an executive one that's geared towards executives also. But it kind of explains the value. It doesn't show how to configure anything or anything like that. These are kind of high level. What does the product give you? What are you looking for? And then also you guys were asking about prerequisites. I'm going to just click on this thing down here, full stack DR user guide. And then for prerequisites, you go in here to this getting started with, and then you'll see prerequisites for full stack disaster recovery. And then it'll go down by the different types of things that you want to add to full stack DR. Right? But all of those things are available from that product page that I was talking about. I talked about a little earlier. All right. Do we have time, Ramon, for any more questions?
We got 9 minutes left in the session, so
Oh, we
this
got
is your
plenty of
party,
time.
Q.
All
You
right.
tell me, buddy.
Yeah. Anybody else got any questions? No? All right. Well, so why don't we just go ahead and wrap this thing up? I mean, I got a ton of things I can show you here that I think are interesting, but I don't know if you'd want to go through that right now. But let me see, is there anything we got the? Let me just show you this real quick, just so you guys, and we have customer references and things down here also. Um, Let me just click on one of these guys right here just to show you what it looks like. I'll do the technical one because it seems this audience is more technical. Um, so you have this one page right here. I'm gonna zoom in, make it bigger. It's a PDF. You just download it like I just did just now. You just click on that thing and then it'll bring this up. And then it just kind of gives you a high level, right? So this is really kind of geared to more technical managers. If your manager wants to know more about this or you want to know more about this, it's a very high level. But on this one, it has this read more about this benefit, and basically it'll take you down to these additional pages. The executive brief has one single page, and that's it. This has the same kind of one page, but it's a little more technical. And then it has the customer references down here, a quote. But then it gets into more in depth about what that really means, So it has, these additional bits of information. Let's see, what else? Nothing really else. Suraj or Raphael, you got Santosh, you got any last words before we wrap this thing up?
I just want
No,
to, sorry, Rafael, go.
no, I think all the questions were answered, right? So I think we are good.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I-
Now, I just want you guys to know for the next time that, we're always going to have our engineer. Santosh is with our development team. This guy is kind of the center of all of our DevOps, support and new features. And man, this guy does a lot of stuff. Anyway, our developers are also on this. So if you have questions specifically for, our engineering team next time around, please feel free, to join and ask questions, like what kind of features are you guys thinking about? What cool things are you thinking about? Anything like that. All right. Ramon, you want to just go ahead and take it away, wrap this up?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm gonna have to take over your screen share, but you just told me to, so there, I don't feel bad about it at all. All right. Once again, thank you to everybody for joining, but then again, thank you to Greg, thank you to Suraj, thank you to Raphael and to Santosh for providing all of the real expertise. We will be back next month. They're going to have another session, I think, just depending on what the poll results were, but feel free to reach out in the meantime. If you need anything, we'll be here and ready to drop knowledge here within the next month. So